Good evening, welcome, and hello. Today I'm going to review the latest EP released by the punk rock band Destructo Disk. They hail from Winchester, Virginia, and they have just released their third EP. It is titled Thanks for the Cheddar Vol.1 53,594 Dreams Interpreted. There's a bit of a backstory to this EP, but first, since I'm pretty sure I've never really mentioned this band on this channel before, and for anyone who's maybe not aware, like I said, they're a punk rock band hailing from Winchester, Virginia, and to put it bluntly, they're great. They're pretty awesome. And the story of this EP in particular, I've been following these guys for a pretty long time. They've been around since I believe like the mid 2010s. And the story of this EP in particular is that they requested for a whole bunch of backers and Kickstarter to fund vinyl versions of their debut album, Punk Rock for Kids Who Can't Skate, which is sort of its self-compilation. But I'll talk about that later because I plan on talking about this band's other parts of their discography because, again, I think they're pretty great. But back to the story of this EP. For all of the people who donated a very large amount of money, I think over $100 or maybe even $200, I don't know. I don't quite remember. But for all those people who donated it, they said that they would name a song on, their new EP that they release after whatever they tell them to. So, if you could tell them to name a song, ice cream cone sandwich or something, and they would name that song that. They're still writing the songs, obviously, but that's just the backstory. And a whole bunch of people donated that, so they said they plan on releasing 2 more volumes of this Thanks for the Cheddar thing they've got going on, which sounds pretty great to me, especially considering how good this EP is. I'll just say right now, even though I'll tackle their other releases later, I don't think this band has released a bad song yet. Maybe there's maybe 1 or 2 songs that I'm aware of that I've heard from them where I'm not super into, but really they're a very consistent band, and this EP is no exception. It's very, very good. I heard that before they released it, the lead singer said that it was it was the best material that they have. Their best EP, I believe he said, or maybe just their best material in general. And I'm not sure if I completely agree with that, but this certainly makes a good case. This is a more consistent release, I think, than their last EP, which was still great, and it had a lot of great highs on it. But this one, I think, is every single track really stands out in a different way, but all holds together with this similar sonic theme, and I would like to get into that. Everything that was great on their previous releases is still great here. The performances from all the different instruments and the way that everything melts together is just great. And this, to me, given the backstory, so to speak, of this release, it feels as though there's a certain atmosphere going on here with each track, and they all kind of fold together since there's a sort of sonic theme that I feel going on here. With their debut, it was very much like just a zany but versatile and multifaceted work. And with their second EP, there's a lot more like introspection going on. Even though it still kept the zany elements, still their sort of personality shines through there. This one, I feel there's very much this unspoken theme of distance and separation. And I feel a lot of that is to do with the vocals and the delivery of it. I have a little bit from what I can tell of the lyrics. I haven't really dove into the lyrics on this yet, but from what I can tell, it feels very much like each song is sort of telling a story, especially the first couple tracks. And I feel that the vocals in particular really sound like anytime that Gideon sings or yells on this album, it kind of sounds like the ghost of Christmas past is yelling at you from downstairs, and you're just sitting there like, what is that? Was that a ghost, or is it my neighbor's kid angrily yelling in frustration at the game that he's playing across the street, right? It kind of has that otherworldly anger, but also sort of wisdom to it. I don't know how to describe. By the way, what I just said is not an insult in any way. That's a compliment. That's pretty. I don't have that much bad stuff to say about this release. It's pretty great. Uh, I love the vocals, and an element that I think has always been consistently great throughout this band's discography so far since the beginning is background vocals. Anytime there is backup vocals or group vocals, I think that they just nail it. Not only do they combine with the lead vocals and just to create this consistent, strong sound, but I also love how you can pick out each voice and tell that it's from a different person, so they have that sort of sense of separation. But they still work together really well. I love the backup vocals and the main vocals. The bass and drum, the bass and drums on this EP really shine. I mean, they always do, but I think more so than usual because the guitar feels very much maybe like a little bit more stripped down. There's not a whole lot of memorable licks that happen, whereas I remember quite a few more from their previous releases. I think their goal was to sort of strip it down more and leave the bass and drums up to really drive the songs. Like every song here, especially the first few tracks, I remember a lot more of the bass fills and whatnot, and certainly a lot of the energy that the drums provide more than anything the guitars do. Nothing wrong with that, obviously. That's just the vibe that it goes for. And I find that very refreshing because it has a unique sound compared to their other releases. I appreciate that and I encourage that. And track by track, again, I think that this album, whether or not I'm sure it's better than their previous EP, I'm not sure. I did love their previous EP, but I do think that for me, this one is a bit more consistent. Their previous EP, I loved it, and there wasn't a bad song on it, but the first two songs were great, and then I think the other two songs were good, Definitely not bad, nowhere close, but I just think that I lost a bit of interest towards the end, but that also sort of contributed to the theme and vibe of that release, which I'll get to later when I talk about it more in depth. This one, I felt that every single track had a lot more memorable things in it, and it really stuck with me, especially all the vocal melodies and hooks are just stellar on this whole thing. In fact, I heard that Gideon, the lead singer, and as far as I'm aware, primary songwriter, said that he thought that the opener to the album, Bentley, he was worried that it might come across as a bit of a weaker opener than previously, and I think it absolutely works. And from what I can tell, a lot of people agree. Might be the highlight. I absolutely love it. Everything works here, especially that those backup vocals and all that just really work. And the following track, Late Nights in My 2004 Chevy Malibu, also is just it's got a great groove and a great vibe. And then Meet Me at the Park is another one that just delivers, It delivers on what every song sort of delivers on the vibe that you kind of almost know it's going to have getting into it. Before you even listen to it, you kind of know what it's going to sound like, and then it sounds like it. But that's not an insult at all. That's just a compliment because, at least for me, I was looking forward to each song, and it delivered exactly how it should. Same with the fourth and final track, Sagittarius Season. I am so embarrassed. I'm going to have to check the title. Gemitarius Season. Sorry. Anyway, but yeah, that track also it closes it very well. It's a lot more it feels a bit more personal, especially in the first part of the song, and then it sort of opens up and becomes more lively towards the second half, which is a nice sort of ramp up, and it just works. This whole EP works. It's very consistent. It's very catchy, very memorable. I'm guaranteed by the fifth time I'm listening to this, I'll try and sing along to every track. I mean, logically, I should maybe have the lyrics memorized by then, right? Maybe. Who cares? Anyway, it's great. And I want to take this time real quick to mention, because I don't think I'm going to when I talk about their second EP, the one before this one. Between the release of their second EP and this EP, They released 2 singles, which are Pepperoni Lopez and Punk Rock Die. I actually saw them perform the song Punk Rock Die, maybe for the first time live, but definitely before it was released, back when it was a new song. There, so I saw them perform it live at a show, and it was great. And I wanted to talk about these two because, well, they're not part of the previous EP, and that EP has a couple bonus tracks on it that I'll talk about then. But for these 2 songs, first off, Pepperoni Lopez, oh my god, I was not expecting that song. It's a very unique song for this band. It completely blew me away. I think it's an excellent song. I love everything about it. The instrumentation just provides these very catchy guitar and bass line hooks that just stick right out, and the drums add a lot of energy and variety to the song. And the vocals, not only the delivery, but the melody and the harmonies and the effects that they have on them or whatever, it all just sounds great. It's definitely unlike anything I've heard from this band, but also I don't think I've heard anything quite like it in general. And I just love how it just completely blindsided me. I wasn't expecting that, and I loved it. And the other single, Punk Rock Die, didn't blow me away in the same way because it sounds like them. It doesn't sound like this completely different thing that I wasn't expecting, but it was still really solid song. It's just a good song. I don't know what else to say about it. But definitely, if you haven't checked out, I think those are 2 good songs to maybe start listening to them. Maybe listen to Punk Rock Die and just like, okay, this is the kind of punk band they kind of are, but they can do a lot different stuff. And then you listen to Pepperoni Lopez to hear what else they can do. And it's also great because it doesn't just feel like them fumbling around with this newfangled idea they have. Oh, let's try a song that has these weird ideas in it, and they fail. It feels like they just had an idea and then they just committed to it and just stuck the landing out of nowhere. And I think that's a testament to what this band does right. So anyway, yeah, check out those 2 singles. Check out this EP because it's really good. And check out all their other discography, but I'll talk about that later. This is a really good one. It's consistent. It's catchy. It's got a lot of energy to it. And it's got a lot of personality to it. And I want to talk about the personality and more the in-depth of the vibe I get from this band when listening to it, especially when talking about the band's debut, their album, Punk Rocks for Kids Who Can't Skate. I'll talk about that another time. But meanwhile, thanks for the Cheddar Vol.1, 53,594 Dreams Interpreted. I remembered the title. It is great. You should absolutely check it out, and then check out their other stuff after that. And like I said, check out those singles I mentioned. So, hope you do that, and have a nice day.